we had an opportunity through a program called Megatons to Megawatts, where for 20 years, 10% of the entire American grid was powered by a program called Megatons to Megawatts. It was decommissioned Russian nuclear warheads. Talk about using something that was supposed to be used for destruction and using it for production. They were low on capital. We bought these decommissioned nuclear warheads. We used them to power 10% of our for over 20 years. The program ended in the year 2012. But fact check me. I think I'm 100% right about 2012. I know it was 10% for 20 years. It might have been 2010. But my point is that people here are suffering. We're tired of watching our dollar go to use throughout the world, funding war and destruction of our neighbors when it could be used to build our home. You know, a $1 trillion a year defense budget, $1 trillion, that's absolutely wild. Could you imagine if we spent $1 trillion on the infrastructure here in America, how much productivity would be increased, how much the farmers would be able to just feed Americans, how much energy would be abundant, how cheap gasoline would be, how affordable our groceries would be. We would be building a bridge to a future where America is able to compete. But instead, continue to fund an organization that has failed 7 consecutive audits. So forgive me if I can't get excited because 1 million people are dead. Forgive me, Senator Sanders, if I can't get excited about perpetually funding the military-industrial complex when you go off about war funding, and AOC did in her speech just 15 minutes before you. And now we're talking about funding wars, and it's just mind-boggling. But he goes on and he makes a good point, and he gets back to the sort of economics that makes his platform very popular. He says that there are 3 people, the 3 wealthiest people in America own more wealth than the bottom half, than 170 million people. I don't know about you. That's some guillotine type stuff. That's some real extreme oligarchy type stuff. That's the kind of stuff that makes me want to help these billionaires invest their money before people get very frustrated and start taking the situations into their own hands. Like we saw with Luigi, 3 people own more than 170 million people in the bottom half. When you look at that sort of wealth disparity, you have to understand that that wealth disparity didn't even exist under the king. You know, we were out throwing tea into the harbor and starting revolutions over less. That's wild.